You motherfucking tube. Man, oh man, it's your boy Rollo Jenkins. Man, I don't even know where to start. But first off, I remember putting out a video some time back when I was talking about how, you know, that you're gonna start getting these belts and new belts and shit sponsored. You know what I'm saying? By like, you know, fucking whoever. Fucking Kellogg's WBA belt and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come to that. And the thing about it is now, we already had this top rank Golden Boy bullshit beef. Now we're gonna have, it seems like, this little HBO Showtime spat. And really what's crazy about it is, I know that, you know, I watch videos like, what's my man, Dante562. I think he got a new channel now, it's called something else. My man, Quentin Ball 23. You know, fans of Floyd Mayweather. I don't know if, I'm not a fan of any particular boxer, but I think the fans of Floyd Mayweather, Adrian Broner are blinded strictly by the fandom that they feel for these fighters and not quite seeing the whole picture. Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya spent their whole entire careers on HBO. Oscar De La Hoya, his entire career was on HBO. How in the fuck all of a sudden all of his shit that he wanna fuck with is on Showtime? Why would that even be? Why would the company that made you who you are all of a sudden not be good enough for shit? So now he drags Floyd Mayweather over there and possibly Adrian Broner. Now, what that does is, not only do you have the top ranked Golden Boy split, then you have the HBO Showtime split. Guess who else gonna have to pick sides? The fucking sanctioning bodies. They're gonna have to either say, all right, the WBA either gonna fuck with Top Rank or they gonna fuck with Golden Boy. It ain't gonna be both, because they know that, for instance, at the 140 pound division, it's basically sold up by Top Rank. Golden Boy. So if you get a title over in 140 pounds and it's in with Golden Boy, you got some pretty decent fights coming up, or some decent fights that can be made. But then again, if you go to, let's just say, the middleweight division, 160 pounds, then you might want to fuck with Top Rank. You know, 160 pounds, 168 might be a little different. And if you go below the 140 pound ranks, you know, 130, 126, 122, you definitely want to fuck with Top Rank. So if, you know, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and IBO, whatever, all of these motherfuckers gonna have to pick sides too. Because once the title gets over to Golden Boy, how in the fuck would any of those titles ever get back over the Top Rank? Now, they may not necessarily have to pick sides, like from heavyweight down to strawweight, we fucking with Golden Boy. But, you know, at 140 pounds, you gotta try and get the WBA, WBC, and IBF. They all gotta try and fuck with Golden Boy, because that's where all the money is, at 140 pounds. They gotta try and fuck with Golden Boy. But then at 122 pounds, they gotta try and fuck with Top Rank. And then the thing about it is, once the belts get over there, if they not fighting each other or anybody else, how the fuck would anybody else win a belt, you know? Then at 140 pounds, let's say a Brandon Rios, he can just say fuck trying to be a champion, because all the belts would be over in Golden Boy. And this is the reason that I say that none of these motherfuckers fighting today will ever be in my greatest of all time. And to some degree, it's not their fault, but it just is what it is, you know? Just like Babe Ruth. I put this shit in the video of mine not too long ago. Babe Ruth will never be in my all-time greatest baseball players. You know what I'm saying? Because for the simple fact, he never played against some of the greatest players there was in his time. And it wasn't like black people weren't playing baseball. They just couldn't play in his league. So it's not his fault. He may have liked black motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he was necessarily a racist, but I know that he didn't play against black players. So it's not his fault, you know? So, but he did play in that era. So it is what it is. You can't deny that or erase that shit. And the same thing with all of these fighters. Right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like fucking the weirdest, stupidest prejudice that I have ever even imagined that any sport could have, you know? So now with that shit, I say this. That leads me to this. You got Adrian Broner skipping over 140 pounds to go to 147 to fight the weakest link. What kind of shit is that? That ain't even no bitch ass shit like my man Hatman said. Nah, that ain't no bitch ass shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? The nigga can do some bitch ass shit. That ain't no bitch ass shit. That's like 2 notches above being a pedophile. That is some fucking and if dog, that's some fucking ridiculous fucking bullshit, dog. And then I've heard the excuse that there ain't nobody else to fight at 140. All right, come on now. There's so many fighters to fight at 140. It don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? And even if you're going to go to 147, it's still better fighters there than motherfucking Paulo Malignaggi. You got Josecito Lopez. You got Marcos Maidana. You know what I'm saying? You can even pull my man Jose Lucigen out the fucking, put him in the mix. Hell, I would even rather have seen him fight dusty ass Eric Morales or even Victor Cano, the motherfucker who just last fought. Humberto Soto, the dude that just fought Lucas Matisse. Anybody but fucking Paulie Malignaggi? Come on, man. Really though? Really fucking really, y'all? And this is the shit that we can fucking dome? This is the shit that we give niggas passes on? How many passes do motherfuckers get, dog? You know what I'm saying? How many passes are these motherfuckers gonna get? He could have fought. I would even give him more credibility if he fought a dude like Randall Bailey at 147, if he gonna go to 147. You know what I'm saying? Paulie Malignaggi? You know how many times this nigga done got dusted? Man, this is why it's getting harder and harder for me to watch. But it's almost like the NBA was like 2 or 3 years ago. The NBA has gotten a lot better in the last year or 2 years, 3 years maybe. 5 years ago, I could not watch the NBA. I just could not do that shit. It was just that bad to me. And fucking boxing, my favorite sport, is getting worse than the NBA was 4 or 5 years ago. This shit is fucking off. I just can't believe this shit, man. Can't believe this shit. These motherfucking fighters, promoters, all these niggas should be ashamed of themselves. And let me say this. Hold up. I know I'm finna ruffle some motherfucking feathers now. I'm finna get a bunch of thumbs down and all that shit right now. It's cool though. But I'm only speaking the truth, you know what I'm saying? I ain't speaking off no, I don't get emotional in my videos. I speak about what has fucking happened, what has transpired, the fucking facts. For years, and myself included, I am guilty of this. We talked so much shit about Top Rank and them fucking in-house fights For years we talked that shit. And didn't we fucking run Manny Pacquiao through the dirt, the grime, the mud, roach infested bed bug ghetto of whatever the fuck we could find? Then we drag his name through all kinds of shit for having in-house fights, for only fighting top ranked fighters. Can somebody please tell me that Floyd Mayweather ain't doing the same fucking thing? Tell me he ain't doing the same thing. And the first thing people gonna say is, well, he fought Miguel Cotto. That's one fight out of his last 8, 9. You know what I'm saying? Come on, since Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Juan Manuel Marquez, Sugar Shane Mosley, Victor Ortiz, Robert Guerrero. The only one, motherfucking Miguel Cotto, and we talking going back to 2006. You know what I'm saying? So, and the ironic thing about it is, do you all remember when Pacquiao was coming up? He was fighting Golden Boy fighters. He fought Marquez. He fought Morales. He fought Barrera. I'm not sure if Barrera was with Golden Boy at the time. And he fought the fucking Golden Boy himself. And then all of a sudden, they can't get along. I don't understand what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, he fought Oscar, the Golden Boy himself. And then all of a sudden, then Top Rank and Golden Boy can't get along. I don't get that shit. I don't know how that shit happens or why it happens, but that was the fucking deal. So, sadly enough, just as Floyd Mayweather was fighting all Golden Boy fighters, Pacquiao was fighting the same Golden Boy fighters. Then all of a sudden, when it came to them two fighting, shit couldn't happen. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Shit don't make sense to me, you know. I'm not saying it's anybody in particular's fault or whatnot, but I just don't fucking understand how it happened. And the thing is, all I'm saying is we just gotta be fair here, you know. And as much as we wanted to call Bob Arum the scum of the earth and the reason that boxing was fucked up, Oscar De La Hoya is just as responsible. And he's doing the same exact, whatever, all of the shit that we clowned on Bob Arum for doing, Oscar De La Hoya is doing the same shit, yo. Same shit. That's why I can't even respect, this shit is getting hard. Shit is getting absolutely fucking hard to watch. And my last point is this. This is my last point. And I remember talking about this shit some time ago. I hate to use the word robbery in boxing. You know, when people were talking about, especially the Tim Bradley, Manny Pacquiao fight. And this is why I say this. I don't know how many of y'all had the chance to do this, but I've had the chance to do this on at least 3 different occasions where I went and watched the fight live. Come back home and watch that shit because I was able to record it. Actually, it's more than that. I'm gonna tell y'all the exact times, to be honest. Years ago, there was a Showtime card. Andre Dirrell, Arthur Abraham, they fought in Detroit, Joe Louis Arena. You know, of course, I'm down there and I got the shit DVR. Come home and watch it. Timothy Bradley, Devin Alexander, whole card. Pontiac Silverdome, right outside Detroit. Of course, it's recorded. Come home and watch it. A few weeks ago, the Showtime card. Floyd Mayweather Promotions, Masonic Temple. Watched all that shit, and of course I recorded it. You know what I'm saying? And also back in, I want to say 06, when the Super Bowl was here at Ford Field, Friday Night Fights was also down here. I was down at Friday Night Fights. Of course, I recorded it, got home and watched that shit. It never fails. Each and every time. When you watch a fight, and you and in person, and you go home and watch it, it's always a little different. Always a little different. So a week ago, we had some more live boxing down here in Detroit, and I was able to go down, and I actually had a press pass. And the thing about it is, I'm sitting, one of the judges is actually a guy that I'm cool with. So I'm sitting there talking to this dude, and we kicking it. So I ended up kind of sitting right behind him for a little while watching one of the fights. And when you sitting that close at that particular angle, it's so much different than the shit you see on TV. There ain't no replays you get to see. Sometimes when their back is to you, the referee might step in the way for a split second, and all you hear is, oh, the crowd. And you missed the punch. You don't know who the fuck hit who. And that punch might be the punch that decided the round. And you missed that shit. You can't go back and, rewind that shit. And you definitely can't go ask the other judge or somebody else who's seen it. And the motherfuckers on your left and on your right had the same fucking angle and view you did. It's hard. It's way harder to judge a fight in that way than it is, than the way that we used to seeing. It is. It just is. It's different as fuck. So, trying to judge a fight in that way is hard. And the thing is, that's why I don't say that there was a robbery or the judges is fucked up. They can't. Until y'all have to do that shit. Go do that shit and tell me how easy it is to fucking judge it. Some fights are easy as fuck to judge. But I'm sitting there watching all these fights, and some of the fights were close as fuck to me. It just looked like, and maybe because I don't have the experience of sitting there watching fights at that distance, but I've watched as many fights as any fucking judge has, just not in that angle, that capacity, at that point of view. But I know I watched my fucking share of boxing, and it was hard as fuck. It just looked like niggas scrapping, and sometimes it's hard to fucking see or decide who got the better of that round. It's hard. So when people always say, oh man, what the fuck was the judge looking at? How the fuck did they score it that way? And it is not even just that. I've sat in the crib with my pops, and man, this nigga have had completely different scores on fights. Completely different scores. So as much as we like to say, oh, this nigga got robbed, or this person got robbed, this some bullshit, he needs to be investigated. It's a subjective sport. It's subjective in nature. That's why boxing, it's only a few sports that are subjective. And when I say subjective is, if I land a punch and you land a punch, then it's up to a judge to decide that whose punch was more effective. You know what I mean? In basketball, it don't matter how the fuck you put the ball through the hoop. That bitch is gonna be 2 points, 1 point from the line, and 3 points behind the arc. If you shoot that bitch with 2 hands behind your back, if you arc that bitch, hook shot it from mid-court, any of those is still gonna be 3 points. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is the only sport that is subjective in scoring. So you have to understand that it's almost like this. In basketball, when you're watching a basketball game, it's subjective if you think that when he got touched, was that a foul or was that a non-foul? That's the subjectiveness of that particular sport. If it's not a foul, it doesn't affect the scoring of the game. And if it is a foul, it doesn't affect the scoring of the game because that man still has to make 2 free throws. So whether you think it was a foul or not, he still had to go to the line to make his actual points. You know what I'm saying? If he steps out of bounds and you think that he didn't step out of bounds, that's subjectiveness, but it doesn't affect the score of the game. If the ball goes in the hoop, it goes in the hoop. There ain't no question about that shit. You know, the only subjectivity there could be to it is, did he get it off in time? Did he beat the clock? Was he inbounds when he shot it? Or whatever the case may be. But if he puts the ball through the hoop, it's going to be 2 points or 3 points or whatever the case may be. There ain't no subjectivity to that. So when we watch a fight and we say, oh man, I think that dude won, or I think it was a robbery. If the rounds are even remotely close, that means that there's a chance that the guy you think won may have lost, you know? But I think I'm just going on, man. Let me get my ass to the gym. Try and work off some of this beer I've been drinking so I can drink some more. It's your boy Rollo Jenkins.